Hello, this is Corin Webster, and this video I'm going to be showing you how to prepare game. So I've got a pheasant here. It's really important before you start doing anything with the pheasant. Obviously, you wash your hands and make sure the surface that you're using is clean and ready. You want to lay it so the head is facing away from you, and you want the breast to be pointing upwards. And as I've just done there, I've made a little hole with a knife in the skin. So just pierce the skin. It'd be really helpful. You don't have to depuck the entire bird, but just get around like the breastbone. You want to pluck away as much as you can, and then yeah, pierce a little hole through the skin. And then when it's pierced, you can just so yeah. And then as you pierce the skin, you want to put both your fingers in and rip the skin apart. And push it down to the sides. In this video, it's just going to be the breasts that we are preparing, so that's all I'm going to be worrying about today. Yeah, as you can see here, this skin can be quite tough because I'm struggling to make a big enough hole. Yeah, and then eventually you'll open up wide enough, and then you can start pulling the skin apart. It's really important that you can pull quite firmly, but just watch out obviously for the bones, as if you break any of the bones, there's lots of stuff inside the intestines or whatever that's just toxic, and you won't be able to eat any of the meat if you do get any of that stuff on the meat. So yeah, just pulling the skin apart, and that will reveal the breast in the middle. So you can see the main bone there, that is the breastbone. So that is the bone that we're going to be cutting the meat off of, and it's the two fatty bits, well not fatty bits, the two meaty bits to the side of that bone are what we're going to be cutting. So as I open up the bird and take the skin off, obviously the breast is going to be right there, and the breastbone. I think first I am going to use my fingers to show you how because you can either take one of the breasts off with either a finger or a knife. The knife, obviously you don't have to get your fingers as dirty, but it does leave a lot of the meat on the bird. However, if I use my fingers, you can get right into the crevices and take as much of the breast off as possible. So I think that's what I'm going to do first. So yeah, as you can see, with your fingers, you kind of just want to push down with your nail. So I'm going to dig my nail right in there. The meat is going to get all stuck in your nails, but obviously you'll wash your hands after you finish, so it doesn't matter anyway. And yeah, you want to start nearer the bottom and work your way up, as if you start nearer the top, obviously there's a high chance that you can bust a rib cage or something like that, and then all the juices from the inside will leak out, and that's not good for the meat, because obviously it's poisonous and stuff like that. See, there we go, and as you cut along the breast with your fingers, you kind of just want to pinch them together, as when you pinch them together, obviously the breast it's not particularly strong, so it should just pull away off the breastbone. And yeah, so with my thumbs, I'm just following up the breastbone. You want to start just taking the top bits off, and then as you go back through, going further down. So I think I do one little bit at the top here, and then I start pushing a bit further down into the breastbone. Oh, not into the breastbone, into the breast, sorry. Avoiding the bones, as to not leak the residue from inside the stomach and the stomach acids all over the meat. And yeah, there we go. I'm slowly, as you get towards the end, you kind of want to start pulling it apart, and then there'll be one bit at the bottom which you kind of have to just tug on. Obviously there are some tendons and stuff like that inside the meat. These will be the long silvery ropes, which I might have in this video. But yeah, with those you kind of just want to, you might not be able to break them apart with your hands, so you kind of just want to pull them as hard as you can, so they come out of the meat, and then separate the rest of the meat from the tendon, rather than trying to cut the tendons themselves. Because after they've been cooked, they'll be all hard and nasty anyway, so there's no point keeping them. And yeah, I'm kind of just making my way through the bird. So yeah, I'm just being very careful not to break any of the bones. Just slowly chipping my way at it. Yeah, you don't want to rush, don't want to be too forceful, because obviously if you break any of the rib cage or anything, or any of the bones, there's a high chance that the acid from the stomach and all that will come leaking out, so you really need to be careful. And yeah, I think I'm getting towards the end now, so I'm going to start pulling at it to try and get it off the bone. So yeah, at the moment I'm just trying to pinch away at the bottom of the meat to try and pull off the carcass. Yeah, trying to be as careful as possible, not being too forceful because you don't want to break any of the bones and let any of the acid out of the stomach or anything. Yeah, I think I've almost got it off. Yeah, so if you can see there, that silver bit is a tendon, so obviously that's a really strong bit. So I'm just going to pull it out of the way. There we go. Yeah, and then just pull the rest of the meat off. And there we go. So that is how you remove a breast using your fingers. If I can pinch the last bit off. And then I'm going to be moving on to how to use a knife to do the same thing. Yeah, so the bits in the top are the really strong tendon bits, so obviously it's going to be quite difficult for me to pull them apart. There we go. So I've got the breast out. There we go. So now I'm going to move on to how to use it using a knife. So yeah, with a knife it's exactly the same as with your fingers, just right next to the breastbone. I'm going to press in to make a little incision and slowly move it down. Obviously with a knife it's going to be it's a lot easier to cut through the meat, so you've got to be a lot more careful with being too forceful. And yeah, so as you can see I'm gliding through that a lot quicker than I was with my fingers. It's really important with the knife as well that you go in at small intervals. You don't want to push it all the way down to the bottom and try and cut it all, because you're going to break a bone or pop something inside that will cause acid to go everywhere, so you need to be really careful. So yeah, I'm just going really slowly, just like little strokes to get as much of the meat off as you can. Obviously with your fingers it's going to be a lot easier to get the meat off, but with a knife obviously it'll be a bit more clean, you wouldn't have to get your fingers as dirty. But yeah, if you want more meat, using the fingers is definitely the better way to do it. So yeah, as you can see I'm just, same as it was before, just avoiding the rib cage in the middle and just pushing all the way down to the bottom. So yeah, when you get to this point down here where you're dealing with the tendons, obviously with a knife you might be able to actually cut the tendons off and use them. However, a lot of the tendons are really hard and really nasty, so when they actually cook, they won't have a lot of there's no good really eating them, because they're just going to be really hard and horrible. So yeah, I tried to cut it away from the tendon rather than pulling the tendon out. But yeah, you can see on my knife how much meat you're losing from using the knife compared to with your fingers. There's a lot more stuff that you can lose, whereas with your fingers obviously you get all of the stuff off all the way down to the bone. But yeah, I'm pretty much done here. And yeah, so that is how you prepare game. So this is how you prepare a pheasant. Obviously, there are other options. You can try and get the legs out and stuff like that, but most of the time you're only going to be wanting the breast, as that's the best part to eat, really. The other parts are alright, but they're just a lot more awkward to get out. So yeah, just one last little bit, slowly pushing away at the tendons. And there we go, that is how you prepare game.